welcome back to the Spiritist Moment. I'm here with you, Kirsten again to discuss another topic, health and well-being, specifically from this book right here, Times of Health and Conscientiousness. This is part of the psychological series, Volume 4, psychographed by the medium Divaldo Franco by the spirit Joanna de Angelis. I will be commenting specifically on Chapter 5 entitled Health and Well-Being. First question, how often do we plan things? Do we plan birthdays? Do we plan holidays together with families? And to what extent do we plan those things? Do we plan them in depth? Do we plan them in detail? And make sure that each one of those details are carried out? Well, if you said yes, congratulations. You're probably a good planner. You're probably a detailed person, or to some extent, at least in those regards. Why don't we ever apply that to our health and well-being? Why don't we ever set a plan and goals for ourselves to be achieved for our health and well-being? Doesn't it make sense, Joanna's here telling us, to do that? To set goals and to work towards that which we wish to accomplish. It makes sense. It's so simple, yet it's not something that we necessarily do. Perhaps we complain, or we just pray, and we just wait for things to change on their own, as if it was some sort of magic. But friends, let's take a minute to think here. Everything in life takes work in order for us to achieve something. Our goals, our aspirations, whatever they may be, it takes work for us to achieve those things. Why would it be any different for our health and well-being? It's not. There's a really interesting little story that Joanna tells at the very end of the story, and it's about this, called the story about a sage who was walking with his disciples, and they noticed a man his cart was stuck in a quagmire. This man had stopped, got his cart stuck, and was just sitting there and praying. This particular sage and his disciples felt sorry for the man, but they kept walking. And some time later, they came across another man who also got his cart stuck in a quagmire and was yelling and screaming and trying to find ways to get his cart out of the quagmire. The sage stopped and told his disciples, let's go and help this person. So they did just that. Afterwards, his disciples asked him, Master, why did we help the second man but not the first? And the first man was praying, he was pious, and the second man was even swearing and cursing. Why did we help the second man and not the first one? Well, the sage, the master, he quite interestingly enough explained that although the second man, yes, had been cursing and cussing and throwing a fit, he was doing something about it. He was in the trenches trying to get his cart out of the quagmire. And dear friends, this is us. This is the example of us. Ideally, we wouldn't be cussing and yelling and screaming. We would just try to find ways to get out of the quagmire that we're stuck in with life. And ideally, we would be praying and working towards our goals and working towards our health and well-being, and not just throwing our hands up, sitting back and waiting for God or some infinite being or someone to cure us. Instead, let us work towards our health and well-being. Let us set goals and work towards them as much as we would set goals for everything else in our lives. For the smallest things, planning things in our lives, why wouldn't we plan for our health and well-being? So dear friends, Chapter 5 of this book reminds us about all of these things, reminds us about our health and well-being and how much of a priority it should be in our lives. So, dear friends, we highly recommend you to get this book, to read it, to study it, and to devour it. But also, most importantly, we highly recommend you set goals for your health and well-being and take the steps to achieve it. Until next time, we wish you many blessings.